Okay, um, I am going to be streaming today to explore the new Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. This is my first proper look at it. Earlier today I went through the contents and had a bit of a look at just sort of like the headings and stuff like that, and then I went through the introduction section by myself just to read through, see what was different, and to get a feel for it. There's some stuff in there that I'm really excited about, like some things that look like there's some downtime actions and things like that, some status stuff. I'm really keen. I'm really excited about it. But today I just wanted to go through character creation. I want to read this section live and then make some characters. So this is the excellent artwork on the front. I really, really like this because, hey Luke, I really, really like this. It calls me back more to first edition than it does second edition. And whilst second edition was my favorite of the WFRP editions, the first edition cover's just better. It just is. Second edition was a bit generic and lackluster. So let's get into character creation. So I haven't read any of this yet, so this is all new, and I will read it out for you, and then we will just start making some characters. Maybe we'll make like one at first, and if that goes well, we'll make another three. We'll make a party of 4. Let's see how we do. So, character. Players explore the old world through the eyes of their character. This chapter shows you how to make your own character from scratch. Most begin the game as unremarkable inhabitants of the Empire, possibly destined for greatness, but no one would guess it. That's not to say you can't rise from humble origins, just that you've got a long journey ahead and that you'll probably need a better pair of boots. I like that. All the information describing your character's abilities is recorded on a character sheet. So this is actually a preview, by the way. So all of the page references and things like that aren't in yet. So it's not a page at. That would be nonsense. We provide ready-made characters and sheets in the starter set and on their website. Using ready-made characters is a great way to start, but yeah, it's best for us to make our own from the ground up. If you're choosing a ready-made character, blah blah blah. When deciding what your character will be like, discuss the kind of group you want to create with the other players. Awesome, this is cool. Although it will raise some questions in a moment. This makes sure the group's characters complement each other, and that together you will have a broad and versatile range of abilities. Your GM may also have a particular kind of game in mind, and you'll need to make sure you have the right mix of characters. Perhaps the GM plans for you to join a group of apprentice wizards who know one another at the colleges of magic. Maybe you are part of a unit of soldiers who have all deserted, or maybe you are one of a disparate band of Reeklanders press-ganged into service by a powerful noble. Knowing this is important to help you build a suitable character which will be more fun to play. So why I find that interesting is because this WFRP has traditionally been random character gen, and they've always built the rulebooks to say that, but a lot of people I know just, make their own characters instead of going the random route. I actually really like the random route, but none of my groups have ever wanted to do that, which is fair enough. They want a bit more control over who they're going to play if they're going to play them for a long time. So yeah, that's fair enough. But them calling them out here specifically that you should have this conversation leads me to believe that the random tables are the exception to the standard rule. That they're expecting people to make their characters, which, as I say, from my experience of playing the game, is more true to what WFRP is. But we'll see. I'm really keen to hear what other people think of this. So, creating a character. The first thing you'll need is a blank character sheet. Now, I haven't done that because I want to do this in front of you, so I'm just going to make notes. So, this is my blank character sheet. Blah, blah, blah. Blank. or a scrap of sheet of paper. Oh, cool. Yeah, this is my scrap of paper. I should have kept reading that sentence. Once you have that, you'll follow 9 steps to create your character. As you move through the 9 steps, you'll record the information about your character as you go. In some sections, you can either choose an option or accept the result of a dice roll to make the choice for you. Okay, so here they call it out. You may receive bonus XP for choosing to accept random outcomes. As if the Dark Gods of Chaos themselves applaud your acceptance of random chance. XP represent learning from experience and are the principal way to improve your abilities. You will be able to spend these points to enhance your character's abilities. XP are covered. Okay, that's an odd grammar choice in my opinion, but whatever. Are covered in more detail in advancement on a page reference. That's super interesting because that means that they're giving XP for random rolls. So they're incentivizing random rolls, and yet the third paragraph tells you to have that conversation. That's very strange. But, you know, whatever. Species. I love that. I love that it's species and not race. Thank you very much. I'm glad that I'm not being compared to a halfling, dwarf, high elf, or wood elf. It's just nonsense. Thank you for changing that to species, Cubicle 7. Massive props for that. So, species. Summary. Choose one of the 5 species. Your character will be a human, dwarf, halfling, high elf, or wood elf. Interesting that they are separating out high elf and wood elf. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, Luke, it seems to be that way because you can get XP. It seems to be, just looking a little bit further down and ahead, that you get XP per step if you go random. So, like, you can say, oh, I don't really have much, I don't really care what species I am, so I will let that go random, but then the rest of the things I want to choose. That's really curious to me. That's very, very clever, but I don't know how that's going to play out at the table. Because the min-max thing to do is to make choices, but also to let it go random. Yeah, that's very strange. I really want to sit down. I have one of my regular players, Danny. He is this very strange combination of hyper roleplay with hyper min-max. He wants to really get into the character and give reasons for the min-max things that he's done. I would love to see him run through this character creation. So anyway, these races are described, these species, damn it, that conditioning, that RPG conditioning, it's in me. Also the wood elf, high elf split is kind of disappointing because it means that mechanically species still falls back to culture as a race. I mean, kind of. In Warhammer, high elves and wood elves they're not, they're kind of subspecies at this point. Kind of. Because wood elves have been significantly changed by their circumstances and by the years that they've been held in that circumstance. I don't necessarily think that means that they are split along the actual boundaries of a species. Like, I think that a wood elf and a high elf could reproduce and have fertile young, so technically they are still the same species, but yeah, that's a good point. Plus, it does say here random race table, right? So, it's... yeah, that's confusing. Anyway, they're described below to help you choose, where you will also find some typical opinions each species has of the others. So again, that's mixing species with culture. So yeah, Luke, you've got another point in your corner there. Alternatively, you can roll 1d100, consult the random species table. Okay, so that might just be an error that it's called random race table, and I'll just mark that down because I know that they're still doing proofreading and stuff. what's this? Page 24. Calling it random. What happened? Random species table and random race table. Which one? Cool. Yeah, I get exactly what you mean, Luke. It is my eternal bugbear as someone who does not share a culture with the primary culture of where I live. Okay, so let's do this roll. Let's find out who our first buddy is. So it's what, a D100/roll 1D100. Alrighty, 34. Human. I mean, it's 1 to 90 that we're going to be a human, so I'm not surprised, but here we are. Species human 34. I like to record the rolls that I get when I do these things, just so that I can step through it at a later date. And because of that, I get a plus 20 XP. Because I randomly rolled. Again, I like that. That's cool. So, humans, Reiklander. Humans are the most numerous and widespread of the civilized species of the Old World. So, most numerous and widespread of the civilized species. Okay, so there are many civilized species, but they are the most numerous and widespread. Cool. From the plains of the Astalian kingdoms to the the frozen oblast of Imperial Kislev. Curious that they're calling it Imperial Kislev. Never heard it called that before, just Kislev. Or the realms of the Ice Queen, right? Humans occupy every corner of the continent, and they thrive. The largest, most powerful human realm is the Empire, a patchwork of powerful provinces blanketed in seemingly endless forests. Standing proud at the heart of this empire, the Reichland is its richest, most cosmopolitan region. And they got these two pretty people here, who I am really... get a load of her hat! Goodness! That is... I'm going to stop rolling, I'm just playing her, that's... So, many Reiklanders see it as their divine right to rule. For the patron god of the empire, Sigmar was himself a Reiklander before he ascended to godhood many centuries ago. Temples and shrines to the god are found everywhere, and the majority of Reiklanders are devout believers in Sigmar's message of empire and unity. Because of this, they are significantly more friendly, open, and optimistic than other folk, since what could possibly go wrong for a land that birthed the god? By comparison, outsiders often see them as arrogant, overbearing meddlers who stick their unwanted noses into any affair. Beyond their affluent lifestyles and pushy personalities, Reiklanders are largely the same as other humans. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like that the text is specifically calling out that people are people. Like, because a lot of the problems I find with folks who try and steer too far away from the like race as culture, a lot of the time I find that they go, oh, well then if every single culture of humans we have to map out, and they are distinct from each other, they make them into these massive caricatures, and they say, you know, this desert dwelling culture have, you know, +5 to resist fire damage, and it's like, well, no, come on, they're going to get burnt at the same rate as any other human. They just have adapted cultural ways to get around that, right? Like, come off it. I like that they're calling that out in the text and saying humans are humans, but Reichlanders have a certain kind of culture going on here. What did you say, Luke? If you're decolonizing your game, consider mechanics not just a poetry hack of the word race. Yeah, I get what you mean. And I think cosmopolitan's a really good word to use for Reichlanders, because they're twats. Pretty much. They're gits, right? They're the gits of Warhammer, and they're kind of cool. I like them for that. So where are we? They may be shorter lived than other species, but humans possess more vigor, versatility, and ambition. They also have a seemingly inextricable relationship with the insidious horrors of the ruinous powers, with more humans falling to corruption than any other species. Perhaps it's no surprise that declining elder species grow increasingly concerned. That should probably be with the meteoric rise of... concern the meteoric rise of humanity could result in cataclysm. Opinions on dwarves. Who is this? Rikager Youngling. Okay. They've been our allies since Sigma walked this very city. Fought with them myself back in 05. Sure, they're a bit stubborn, seriously vindictive, and pretty blunt, but I don't hear a word said against them. On halflings, Stefan Cross. What voice should I go with this? It's an innkeeper. I'll go deep. If I get myself the sort what eats and smokes all day, then I'm happy as Ronald as in catnip. It's when I get them without proper manners nicking me crockery or knives and forks that I just can't abide. They're all smiles and shrugs when the watch come to pick 'em up, like they don't understand what they've done wrong. Yeah, well, I don't care for your racism there, Stefan. Dorothea Talenstein, merchant from Kemperbad. Merchant. I might want to go a bit more ridiculous German with this. But I can't do a female German voice. I'll just read it out. Yes, I do trade with them. And no, don't be ridiculous. I've never been turned to a pillar of salt just by looking at them. Truly, I find them graceful and urbane. Proper civilized, I'd say. But between you and me, if Verena were to ask, I might also say I find them just odd. So very intense. Like every deal we make really matters. On Wood Elves, Sagina, Gerster, bored from Ubersreich. Elves of the forest, you say? Ain't none of 'em around here, mate. You want to be going south to Bretonia. I hear they got loads of 'em, and that they're completely horrible. I like the dichotomy between high elves and wood elves because high elves tend to be like more known in the empire as actual elves, whereas wood elves tend to be like fey creatures. So I am actually kind of up for that distinction. And often they don't consider themselves the same people. Like most high elves probably wouldn't see kinship with wood elves, and likewise. But I mean, we'll find out when we get to their section. I think we will just read the things that are relevant to this character and then step through later ones when we roll them. Maybe we'll actually choose the other the other species for the next characters. Who knows? Okay, high elves, wood elves, and okay. So next step is class and career. Your class determines your general place in society. Your career describes your current job and determines your status, which also influences how much money you earn. You can simply choose your class and career from the options below, write them down on your character sheet, and move on to step 3. Alternately, if you're unsure which to choose, or just want to randomly select for bonus XP, 1. Roll 1d100 on the random class and career table. If you don't like the result, move to step 2. If you keep the result, gain plus 50. Step 2. Roll twice more on the table, bringing your total to 3 choices. If one of the 3 now suits, select 1 and gain plus 25 XP. If not, move to step 3. 3. Choose your class and career or keep rolling on the table until you get something you like. There is no XP bonus. Okay, so it just gives you gradations. Let's roll. Let's just flat out roll. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Alright, so let's roll 1d100. What do we get? 64. 64 leaves us with a riverfolk riverwoman. So, class, riverfolk, and career, riverwoman. Now, I remarked on this when I first saw this name. there are gendered careers here, gendered names for careers: coachman, boatman, seaman, etc. So it's interesting that there's riverwoman. I'm really interested to see if that means that they're expecting things like boatman to be masculine and they're expecting riverwoman to be feminine, and if that is the case, then how that's going to come out in play, or if that is just merely that it made the most sense for them, and that's like the sort of the stereotype or the phenotype, and it's not restrictive. Who knows? I certainly don't. That's why I'm reading. And I'm interested about the class thing, because yeah, it feels like it could be a little bit more burning wheel, almost like life paths. So class, your choice of class determines which careers you can choose. The careers under each class are of a broadly equivalent social level that offer similar types of opportunities between adventures. So academics, learned people who use their education to make a living. Often academics are the only characters who can read and write. They start with low status but can secure important positions if they advance through the ranks. So the options: apothecary, engineer, lawyer, nun, physician, priest, scholar, and wizard. Burghers, generally law-abiding townsfolk who live and work in the many towns and cities of the empire. Many burghers are middle class and earn a decent living. Agitator, artisan, love that artisan's there. Beggar, investigator, merchant, rat catcher, townsman, watchman, courtiers, those who rule or who provide special services to those who rule. Even lowly born courtiers have higher status than most, and all have an opportunity to secure positions of significant influence. Advisor, artist, duelist, envoy, noble, servant, spy, and warden. Okay, so a servant definitely goes against the broadly equivalent social level, but the courtiers section kind of describes that. I get the impression, this definitely gives me the impression of life paths, not blades, burning wheel life paths, that everyone inside a class can freely converse with the folks in that class and are expected to probably know people from that class. I mean, you'd be a pretty shit servant if you didn't know some nobles and some people who you're serving. Peasants, people who live and work in the farms, villages, and countryside. Peasants are all lower class, though it's possible to secure significant influence locally. Bailiff, hedge witch, herbalist, hunter, miner, mystic, scout, and villager. Rangers, roving folk who make a living on the open roads, travelling far beyond their hometowns and villages. Most rangers are lower class, but some can secure positions of high status if they persevere. Bounty hunter, coachman, entertainer, flagellant, messenger, peddler, road warden, witch hunter. Interesting that witch hunter's there. River folk, people who... so this is the one that's relevant to us. People who live and work on the rivers and waterways that wind through the Reekland and beyond. River folk all begin with low status. Sick art. I love barbers. With low status, but some have opportunities that can lead to very comfortable life. Boatman, huffer, river woman, river warden, seaman, smuggler, stevedore, wrecker. Rogues, mostly town and city folk. These people make a living by acts considered illegal or at least unsavory by most law-abiding citizens. Rogues are usually lower class, but some can make a lot of money, though they may not secure a high status when doing so. I like that there's these distinctions, sort of giving you an idea of how your status can shift. Bawd, charlatan, fence, grave robber, outlaw, thief, racketeer, and witch. I like that witch is separate to hedge witch. And that's interesting, that's just a starting career. That's going to be curious. Warriors, relying on their physical prowess, these people are all trained fighters, although they are not necessarily from the military. Warriors come from many backgrounds, both high and low status, and can all carve out a position of influence if they live long enough. Cavalryman, guard, knight, pit fighter, protagonist, soldier, troll slayer, and warrior priest. Okay, so earlier I noted in the contents that it was just slayer, and here it's specifically called troll slayer. I don't know if that's an error or if that's the beginning rung of that career. I don't know. I don't really know how the careers work yet. I believe they tier up in the same way that 2nd edition did. Career. Choose one of your class's careers. Restricted by your species. Oh, they're restricted by species. Interesting. Okay. Once your class is established, choose one of the careers associated with it. There are 8 careers in each class, but some are restricted by species. Full descriptions of each career and their restrictions are given in Chapter 3, Class and Career, but for a quick reference, refer to the random class and career table to see a complete list of every... Okay, so we're going to have to hunt down that one. Options. But I want to play a Wood Elf Flagellant. You may have a great idea for a character excluded by the rules because normally the race in question doesn't pursue such a career for cultural, religious, or philosophical reasons. That's totally fine. Just take your character concept to your GM, and if you both agree to the unique combination, you're good to go. Yeah, I don't really like giving that weight to the GM, but I understand it. I think that should be rewritten to basically say, take your suggestion to the group. Yeah, because the GM's just a player, right? They are. I don't care. I don't care. The GM is a player. Attributes. Summary. Determine each of your attributes by referring to the attributes table. Attributes describe your character's innate capabilities, how fast or strong you are, how much damage you can sustain, or how well you cope with stressful situations. Attributes include movement, 10 characteristics, wounds, fate, and resilience. Okay, wait, that's not fair. You may notice that not all characters are created equal. An elf has significant characteristic advantages. For example, don't be deceived by numbers alone. There are many aspects to character generation, and all the species have advantages and disadvantages at each stage. Some of them not always obvious. Oh, whoops, I should have given myself plus 50 XP for this, right? Because I randomly rolled it. 64 plus 50 XP. Cool. Yeah, so this is a point that actually came up on a Discord discussion a little while back. That there's like mechanical advantages to being an elf as opposed to being a human or a halfling or something like that. But I really think that the roleplay aspects of those characters massively outweigh them, because elves are rare. And this is a setting where being a human gives you significant advantages. There's a lot of xenophobia in Warhammer baked into the setting, and like, I mean, that's, I guess you could definitely play it without that kind of thing, and I would encourage you to do so if that's something that you don't want to play through, because it can be tiring as hell. But it's pretty inherent to the setting. It's kind of, I see it as being sort of the point. The point of Warhammer is to be that kind of confrontational. And I felt that it was very helpful as a kid to have a game like Warhammer where I had to see the struggles that I went through on a day-to-day basis projected into this fantasy realm, and I felt like it was kind of cool and affirming to be able to play with my own experience in that way. I would be wary of going too deep into that, but I think it's worthwhile. I think it's worthwhile it being there. Your mileage will obviously vary. Characteristics. Your 10 characteristics are used in tests. See Chapter 5. To determine if you perform an action successfully, the human average for these attributes is 30. Your 10 characteristics are used in tests to determine if you perform an action successfully. The human average for these attributes is 30. Those who are gifted or well-practiced may receive scores of over 40. Only the most dedicated and experienced will achieve scores of over 60. Of course, other species have their own strengths and weaknesses, so their averages are different. sometimes significantly so. So it's interesting to note here that elf is one category instead of being two. So Luke's split along the cultural and species line is still there. It's weird. Determine characteristics. When determining your characteristics, step 1, roll 2d10 for each of the 10 characteristics and make a note of the result. If you feel your character would be improved, if you swapped around some of the dice roll results between characteristics, move to the next step. If you stick with your random results, add the die rolls to the bonus for each characteristic from the attribute table. Write them down on your character sheet and gain 50 XP. Step 2, rearrange the 10. This is very strange, how it's like you roll and then if it doesn't work, then you move to the next step, and if not, you stay there. I feel weird with the way that it's layered, but I can see why they've done it. Anyway, assigning each of the different characteristics and add the bonus. If you're happy with this new mix, record them on your character sheet and gain plus 25 XP. If not, move to the next step. Step 3, if you're still not happy with your results, either roll again and swap the rolls around with no XP bonus. Oh, right. Or you can ignore the dice completely. Instead, allocate 100 points across the 10 characteristics as you prefer, with a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 18 allocated to any single characteristics. Add the bonuses from the attribute table and record them on your character sheet. Like rolling again, there is no XP bonus for this option. Interesting that if you point by, you can never get the maximums or the minimums. The maximum and minimums are restricted only to the dice. Well, we're going to roll. That's just who we are. 2d10. Cool. So, and I'm going to go step 1. I'm not going any further than that. So, weapon skill, we've got, what do we roll? 16. Next, we've got ballistic skill. 15. I am rolling very well. Having said that, I will roll poorly. Told you. Next, strength, so 7, and then is toughness. Oof. I shouldn't have said a word. What is wrong with me? Agility, we have 12. Who is next? Initiative. Curious. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they've split agility, dexterity, and initiative out. So I do not take the initiative. I only have 6 in initiative. What is after initiative? We've got dex. This kind of calls me back a little bit to first edition, which I don't know actually how I feel. I guess we'll find out. Yes, okay. 6 intelligence. I am not an intelligent person. Classic. Willpower. 10. Fellowship. 15. Cool. So I fight, I'm quick, and I'm companionable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are the 10 characteristics. So we won't move on to wounds and fate and stuff yet. Let's, okay, so we get, we roll randomly, so we get plus, what, 50 XP? Oh, we're rolling in it already. Okay. Weapon skill. Your skill at fighting hand-to-hand, your ability to land a measured blow, and effectiveness in the free-for-all of a massed melee. It is also used for unarmed combat, where your body is the weapon. Ballistic skill. Your effectiveness at hitting with ranged weapons like bows and throwing knives, and for throwing things generally. It is also used as the basis for other ranged attacks like trolls vomiting. Okay. Strength. How much damage you do in melee, how much you can lift, and how good you are at things like swimming and climbing. Fair enough. Toughness, your physical hardiness. It helps you survive damage in combat, but will also help you take with things like surviving harsh conditions and standing up to poison. Initiative. So initiative is just I. Speed of thought and reaction, especially in the heat of battle and when under pressure. It determines combat order and helps you be the first to react to danger. It also determines your powers of intuition and perception. Oh, okay, so that will be your perception score instead of intelligence. Interesting. Agility. Physical coordination and natural athleticism, and the basis for things like running, riding, and hiding. It is also used for dodging blows in combat. Dexterity, sorry. Your affinity for performing fine and delicate manual tasks like playing a musical instrument or skilled manufacturing. It will also help you with things like sleight of hand and picking pockets. Intelligence, your powers of thought, analysis, and understanding. Useful for healing, evaluating, and general knowledge, and vital for the understanding and casting of magical spells. Okay, well, I am dumb in that, so we are fine. Willpower. General strength of mind. Actually, it's interesting that intelligence is magical spells. That used to be willpower. That is very interesting. General strength of mind and your ability to shrug off difficulty and plow on with the job in hand. I thought that was at hand, that expression, but whatever. It helps with resisting all sorts of influence and coercion and guards against fear and terror. Fellowship. Your ability to get on with people and come across as generally pleasant and acceptable. Excellent. I'm generally acceptable, my character. It will help you when chatting to locals or commanding people in battle, charming the guards or attempting to bribe them, and for pious characters, communicating with your deity. Okay. Characteristic bonuses. The first or tens digit of each characteristic is its bonus value. Characteristic bonuses are used in a variety of different ways throughout the rules, particularly for limiting talents and defining spells. Yeah, so that's the same as second ed. So what do we plus to them? Humans, 20 across the board. Cool. 30, 35, so 27, 23, 32, 26, 29, 26, 30, and 35. Okay, so remember, 30 is the human average. So below average strength, very below average toughness, and we're a bit dumber and slower than most folks. That's fine. At least we got that sweet, sweet XP. Okay, so wounds. Your wounds show how much damage you can endure based on your physical power and your force of will to shrug off injury. See Chapter 5 rules for how wounds are used to track damage. Determining wounds. Unlike other attributes, wounds are derived from your strength bonus, toughness bonus, and willpower bonus, abbreviated SB, TB, and WPB, on the attributes table. Simply mark the appropriate bonuses in your character sheet and total them to determine your wounds. Okay. So human SB. SB is 2. So okay. So wounds 2. SB 2 plus 2 times. Oh, that's confusing because it's 2x. It's not actual multiplied. That looks confusing to me. But it's 2 times TB, and TB is 2. Screw this. I'm just gonna. Okay, 2 times 2, so that becomes 4, and then plus what is just willpower bonus? 3. Okay, so we've got 7, 9. We have 9 wounds. Okay. Fate and fortune, resilience, and resolve. Your fate represents your destiny and is directly tied to your fortune, representing your luck. Your resilience is your inner strength, which is directly related to your resolve, defining your grit. Your resilience also comes with a motivation, which is a single word. I'll add this to the errors. Error. PG. What is this? 34. Missing. What? Where was it? Which is motivation, which is which is a single word. Cool. Cool. Describing what drives your character forwards. Fair enough. I like that. It's kind of like a bit of a goal thing. Determining fate and resilience. You start with the base value for fate and resilience and then have a number of extra points spread between these two attributes as you see fit. The number of these are shown in the attributes table. The more points you allocate to fate, the luckier you are. By comparison, the higher resilience shows you can steal through any situation. Okay. Okay, so I'll just write these down, I guess. Fate is 2. Resilience is 1. Extra points is 3. And movement, I guess I'll just write that down now as well, is 4. Cool. Determining fortune and resolve. Your initial fortune is equal to your fate. Your initial resolve is equal to your resilience. Oh, okay, cool. So it just gets derived from it. Determining motivations. All characters choose a motivation. It represents your character's core essence, a word or phrase that sums up what you live for. In addition to the obvious role-playing benefits for portraying your character, motivation is used to help you regain temporary resolve points. When considering your motivation, think of something that is fundamental to your character's nature. Also try to make your motivation something fun to roleplay and something that will work well with the other PCs and their motivations. Example. Gustavus, a young scholar of the University in Altdorf, has thrill seeker for his motivation. He lives his life in pursuit of excitement and danger, and Gustavus must regain temporary resilience points when he actively seeks out risky or adrenaline-fueled situations. Perhaps he provokes antagonism in taverns, or deliberately breaks the law by stealing the feathers from the caps of state soldiers. Example 2. Clotilda, a Reiksguard knight, has protect the weak as her motivation. She is driven to stand up to bullies and braggarts, risking life and limb to save the Reichland citizenry. Clotilda will regain her temporary resilience whenever she rescues others or puts herself in harm's way. Okay, so first of all, let's figure out where these extra points go. This should probably go here. Let's figure out where these extra points go. There's no, way to do that. Yeah, there's no way to do that. Let's just roll. So there's 3. Let's roll /roll 3d2. 1s go to fate, 2s go to resilience. 1, 2, and 2. Oh, okay. 3 and 3. Very balanced. Sweet. So, we are a balanced person here. Balanced river woman. We're going to have to look up what a river woman is, I think. Yeah, let's come back to this page. So, page 35. And we'll come back there. Let's go and have a look at the river woman now, just so that we can, because, we don't even know who they are, right? We need to find out their shtick. Oh! Look at this artwork. Yeah, okay. I want a gun. I want a sword through, a dirk through my cap. I want a little skull on that cap. I want, what is this? Like a big, massive fur as well as a feather? Goodness. She is a badass. Alright, so River Woman. Rivers carry most of the old world's traffic, and you can stand in the heart of that. And you stand in the heart of that excitement. The fertile banks of the great rivers of the Empire are densely populated, and the folk working day in, day out in the nearby waters and marshes provide much of the fresh fish, eels, and crustaceans feeding the towns and cities. Unlike the island villages, those on the great rivers frequently receive, inland villages, receive outsiders who trade and restock, meaning river women are somewhat more open and diverse, and often the first with news from distant lands. There are any number of diverse jobs supported by the river. Many harvest the rake's bounty, fisherfolk using rod, spear, or net, eelers using traps or pots, or diggers for shellfish. Many live in riverside villages, labouring, dredging, or lugging and maintaining the reek's many thousands of vessels. If I drop this stick in the water now, it will eventually get to Marienburg, unless it sticks in the mud, of course. Jemima, the green fish. I like that. They say the whole empire will eventually float by if you sit by the reek long enough. Well, I've sat here, rod in hand, for 20 years, watching the flow downriver. The things I could tell you. I've seen war and I've seen peace. I've seen good times and bad. I've seen happiness and sorrow. And in all that time, I can honestly say I've not caught a single bloody fish. Thijs Lang, the Riegland's worst fisherman. A river woman will feel at home on any stretch of water, and their skills ensure they can drop everything, confident that they will be able to find work elsewhere should they need to. A river woman is well placed to get the lowdown on the more iniquitous side of river life, and may have contacts among the river's lowlifes. With their knowledge and experience, they can make all the difference to a water-based expedition or investigation. I don't know what any of this stuff means, but I guess we'll find out, and I hope we will. Let's see. Skills, athletics, consume alcohol. Okay, so there's brass 2, brass 3, brass 5, silver 2. Don't know what those things mean. Don't know what this career path thing is. Okay, and the next page is a new career. Alright. Well, we've got a little bit of an idea now of who we are. So, motivation. Let's say, let's go with a simple one, I think. Let's say our motivation is curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, and is probably the worst and most dangerous thing you can have in WFRP, because it means you will die. You will read the book, you will open the door, go into the room where the ritual is happening, and you will get absolutely killed. Oh, actually, there's more examples and more text, so I'll just quickly read that. Ebra is a rebellious apprentice wizard studying at the Light College. She loves to break the rules of the college, flaunting her master's authority and poking her nose into books best left undisturbed. She gains temporary resilience whenever she breaks the rules set for her by superiors. Okay, so similar, except my character doesn't have anyone to rebel against, because it doesn't seem like they have a boss. Other examples of potential motivations include a perfectionist, who loves to plan meticulously and draws energy from flawless execution of schemes, a nurturer, who gains strength from caring for others or rescuing them from difficult situations, a penitent martyr. So they said it was single word, but I guess you can do like a single noun coupling, who revels in hardship to atone for past misdeeds, or a shining wit, who's ever engaged in witty. Oh god, this text is real small. Who's ever engaged in witty badinage. Don't know what that word is. And banter to lighten the mood. If you can't think of a motivation, don't worry. One may arise as you create more of your character, and the other players and the GM can always help. Even if you do have one, it's possible you may change your mind later. Step 8, bringing your character life, is a good time to reconsider what your motivation will be. Okay, so we can change this. We might change this. Who knows? Movement is used to determine your walk and run speed. Standard human movement is 4. If you use a grid for movement, this indicates how many squares. Okay, cool. And there's a bit of a grid going on here. Advanced characteristics. Turn to your career in Chapter 3 and look to the advanced scheme and find the 3 characteristics marked with the iron cross without a brass, silver, or gold background. The 3 marked with the cross without a brass, silver, or gold. You can allocate a total of 5 advances across these characteristics as you choose and mark them in the advances box on your character sheet. Characteristic advances. Characteristic advances show training or expertise in your characteristics. The number of advances you have in the characteristic is added 2. Page 35. Missing word. Missing 2 in the number of advances you have in the characteristic is added to the initial characteristic. Okay. Cool. To show your current ability. So if you have an initial dexterity of 25 and 5 dexterity advances. Okay, so these are incremental. Every single percent is an advance. And we can do 5. Cool, we might be able to like mop up some of these things. So the career is page 95. Just so we can remember for later. Okay, so we have toughness. Let's just pop that there. Agility. Let's pop that there, and dex. So we know what our things are. Okay. So we can bump our toughness, our agility, and our dex up. Let's do 1 advance in dex to get us to 30. And then we've got 4 more. Let's pile them into toughness. It's not going to get us there, but it's better than it being like cripplingly low for a human. So that's 27 now, and this is 30 now. Cool. So now our dex bonus, I guess, is up to 3 instead. 35. Cool. So, skills and talents. Choose your skills and talents from those offered by your species and career. Skills represent areas of trained learning or experience, and talents describe special abilities your character can access. A list of all skills and talents is provided in the relevant chapter. Skills and talents you have available to you at character generation are determined by your species and career. When you learn a skill, note down the number of advances you gain in the advances box of the skill. If you should learn this skill again, add the extra advances to the old total to create a new number of advances. Okay, if you learn a talent, record it in your talent list. Okay, skills are classified as either basic or advanced. Basic skills represent common abilities that everyone can perform and can use without. You can use these skills without any advances in them at a level equal to the governing characteristic. Okay, advanced skills require specialist knowledge, and you can only use these skills if you have taken at least 1 advance in them, so pretty similar to 2nd edition. Note, some talents can be learned multiple times. If you have an opportunity to learn a talent a second time, check the talent entry to see if it can be learned multiple times. Cool. What skill advances. Like characteristic advances, skill advances show specific training in a skill. All skills are associated with the characteristic, and the number of advances you have in the skill is added to the characteristic to show how skilled you are. So, as climb is associated with strength, if you have a strength of 38 and 8 climb advances, your climb skill is 46. Okay, so these are one to one as well. Goodness, this is getting a lot more mathy, but I don't mind it. Species, skill, and talents. Each species has a variety of skills and talents to choose from. You may choose 3 skills to gain 5 advances and 3 skills to gain 3 advances. You gain each talent choice, if there is a choice, once. Any random talents are determined by the random talent table. So do I just get these? How does this work? The skills and talents you have available to you at character generation are determined by... Okay, so these are the ones that I can choose to spend points in. And these are just the species ones, so I don't have to worry about my career at the moment. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not going to look at my career ones. I'm just going to I'm just going to choose my human ones here. It doesn't look like I can randomly do this either, so I just have to spend my advances. And so I can choose 3 that have 5 advances and 3 that have 3 advances. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and I can only pop into 6. Okay. Well, we're a pretty charismatic person, so I think that that's how we do things. We talk, right? We are a talker. But I also think we're a bit of a shooter and a fighter, right? So, and I like the idea of the woman who like sat on the bank of the Reich forever and saw everything. So I like the Law Reichland thing. So I think we're gonna go not charm. I don't think this person charms. I think this person gossips. Gossip plus 5. I think we're gonna go. Doesn't look like we can get language. Riegspiel. Maybe that's inherent. I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, gossip plus 5. Let's take ranged bow plus 5. And let's also go with. Let's go with command. I wanna be a bit like. I think this character is like the leader of the group. Well, maybe, I don't know. We don't know who else is going to be here, but this person is definitely canny. And let's go the other 3. Let's get melee basic. They're scrappy with a blade. Let's go Law Reichland plus 3. And let's go cool, just because that's who I am. Alright, so we've got those skills down, and now our talents. So we've got Doomed, excellent, and Savvy or Suave. So Savvy gives us bonuses to intelligence based, like that's old Warhammer, and Suave gives us that bonus to Fellowship. Let's go Suave, even though oh no, I don't want them to be dumb. Like, because we're dealing with someone here who like gossips and stuff, and they know a lot about the place where they're from, and let's give them Savvy. And then we get 3 random talents. Cool. Alright, so and this, I don't think we get XP for this. We just roll them. Unless it says somewhere that we get XP. No, we just roll these. But we may re-roll them if we get ones that we already have. Cool. 3D100. Oh, shit. $34, which gives us linguistics. It just wants me to be me. Linguistics, we've got 77. 6th Sense. The GM killing talent. And 42. Mimic. Oof, this is a weird person. I love him. Alright, career skills and talents. Now turn to your career in the part of the book. You begin at the first career level listed in your career path. There are 8 skills and 4 talents listed with that level. You can choose which of these you are most proficient at. Allocate 40 points of advances to your 8 starting skills, with no more than 10 allocated to any single skill at this stage. So I'm guessing that's in addition to the ones that I got from being a Reiklander. This is exactly enough for you to add 5 advances to every career skill if you wish, which is what's needed if you wish to complete your career and move to the next one. Oh, okay, so you do actually have to like fill out your career. You may also choose a single talent. Okay, so I'm on 36. Let's jump. So we start as a green fish, which is brass 2, whatever the hell that means. Do not know what that means. Yeah, it goes, oh, maybe that's like the amount of money that we get, because like brass, silver, maybe. I don't know what this and this means. It's probably tied to these things, like we get weapon skill bonuses if we go to River Woman and so on and so forth. Yeah, that seems to be relatively intuitive, so maybe that's maybe that's the case. I hope it is, because that's kind of cool. Alright, so we've got athletics, consume alcohol, dodge, endurance. Don't know why that's italicized. Maybe that's like a specialty or something. Gossip, outdoor survival, row, and swim. Well, we've got to get row, right? We have to get row. So athletics, consume alcohol, dodge, endurance, gossip, outdoor survival, row, and swim. And we've got 40 points. 40 points. Okay. Let's straight up give 5 to athletics. 5 to dodge. We want to be a fighty person. I don't know what endurance is, and we don't have much in the way of toughness, so I'm not going to go with that. Let's go 5 more on gossip. So that's 15 total. We should be capable in the woods. That's 20 total. Let's give ourselves 10 on row. Let's give ourselves 7 on swim and 3 on consume alcohol. Okay, so we're not going to finish this career to begin with. Okay, so let's bump these into... So let's just bump gossip up to 10 over here. And then pop these into our skill list. And I'll like make it proper alphabetical order later. Talents, we can choose 1. Fisherman, gregarious, strider, marshes, and strong swimmer. Don't know what any of those do. Let's go with fisherman. Fisherman. Get some more coin. 39, cool. Oh, whoops, it was 36, wasn't it? 36. Okay, so we've done that part. Trappings. Determine your initial trappings from your class and career. Your trappings are the equipment, clothes, weapons, and other items your character carries. You begin play with initial trappings determined by your class and your career. Didn't just read that? Oh, that was in the summary, yeah. If you want to buy more or sell what you already have, refer to Chapter 11 Consumer's Guide. All your trappings should be recorded in the relevant sections of your character sheet. Once you've done this, move on to 6, adding details. Class trappings. Your character begins play with general trappings determined by your class. Reference your class in the list below and jot the trappings into your character sheet, rolling dice where required. So we're river folk. Okay, trappings. So we have a cloak, brilliant. We have clothing, good, we're not naked on the river, that's nice to know. We have a dagger, pouch. We have a sling bag, and we have, containing a flask of spirit, so we can put that consume alcohol skill to use. Career trappings. Every career has a list of trappings for each of its 4 levels. You begin play with all the trappings listed in the first level of your career path. Find the appropriate trappings list in your thing and record them. Next, find your career's status, which is listed beside your career's level name. It will be marked as either brass, silver, or gold, along with a number, your status level. Your status tier and status level determine your initial wealth as shown below. Brass. So I think they're like brass 2. 2d10 brass pennies per status level. So if you're brass 3, you would start with 6. Yeah, okay. So we get 4d10 brass pennies. This money can be used to purchase more things. Okay, so I think that's right. Okay, let's look at our career. So yes, we are a green fish. Let's write that here. Green fish. Brass 2. So trappings from this, we get a bucket, a fishing rod and bait, and leather leggings. We also have 4/roll 4d10 brass pennies. 19 brass pennies. 19 brass pennies. 36. Okay, adding detail. Summary: choose name, age, hair and eye color, height, psychology, and ambitions. Capitalized. Interesting. The bare bones of your character are in place, so let's add some details. Flesh your character out in your imagination, determining what you look like, how you think, what drives you. Name. Well, you can choose any name that fits the world. Here are some hints and tips to help choose one that's right for you. Human Reiklander names. Reiklanders usually have a forename and a surname. Forenames include Adamar, Anders, Arta, Beatrice, Clementia, Detlev. Germany names. Kind of fake fantasy Germany names. Human names and their origins. Human names in WFRP are often taken from the real world, making it easy to research fun names online. Reichland and much of the Empire uses Germanic names. The Wasteland has Dutch and Belgian influence, and Bretonnian names are loosely medieval French. In the Reichland, human family surnames passed on from one generation to the next are most common in cities and towns, while in villages, humans are more likely to take on an individual surname when they reach adulthood. It's common to take a surname from where you were born, such as Wilhelm of Oswald. The nobility often have two surnames. One is the name of their house, the other is preceded by von to indicate where their family holds land, such as Graf Seneschar Trott von Tame. Though individual family traditions vary widely. The most common surnames are derived from your occupation or the occupation of a parent or grandparent. Examples include Boer, so farmer, butcher, smith, cobbler. Okay, if a character has a particularly noticeable physical trait, this might be used as a surname, which can often be passed down from parents to children too, which can become confusing for literal-minded dwarves who may not understand short person. Another error. Page 38. Missing A in who may not understand a short person. Short person claiming to be lang, tall. Some other examples include organ loss, one eye, dun, very thin, lort, loud voice, stark, strong. Okay, so let's just pick a cool name from here. Sigfreda, Ulrika. Helga. I like Helga. Name. Helga. And last names here. What's the word for the German word for, I guess, for river woman, right? River woman. Flussfrau. I love that. That is what Helga's last name is. Flussfrau. Cool. Alrighty. So, we have Helga, Flussfrau, and we have sorted out their name. Cool, so there's some charts for building elf names and things like that. Physical details. When it comes to cosmetic physical details, those aspects of your appearance that don't influence the game directly, you may either roll them randomly or choose from the range available to your species. I roll, baby. I roll. Age. Average natural lifespans are around 60 for human, 120 for halflings, and over 200 for a dwarf, while elves don't appear to age at all and have been known to live for 1,000 years or more. Choose your character's age or use the table below. So, /roll, what is this? 1d10 plus 15. Oof, I'm young, 17. Alrighty. Eye color. While most species roll once on the table below, elves may roll twice. Their innate magical natures means they often have variegated colors, such as sapphire blue flecked with gold, or a mottled mixture of mossy green and warm chestnut. Okay. 2d10 /roll. 2d10. What do we got? We got 12. 12. Grey. Grey eyes. Grey. Hair color. All species barring elves have hair that slowly turns grey as they move through middle age, then eventually turns white as they reach old age. By comparison, elves seem eternally youthful, never showing any signs of age. Humans and dwarves may also have significant facial hair, which is usually the same color as head hair, but not always. I've always been interested about elves. If they don't seem to grow old, but then they do actually have, like, an end to their lifespan, because it said, like, they grow to be 1,000 and maybe more. What do they look like when they die? Do they just suddenly die? Do you not, like, I don't know, that's weird to me. I'm about it, if that's what they want to do, you know, but I don't really get it. 4. We have reddish blonde hair and grey eyes. Oh, we're a badass. Reddish blonde. Cool. Height. Average heights are... Wow, elves are tall. Alright. Humans are 5'9" in the Reichland. If you want a truly random upper height for humans, either die rolls. If either die rolls a 10, roll one more die and add it to the height total. Okay, cool. So 2d10 /roll 2d10. Let's see. So this is 7. So this is human 4'9" plus 7. So that's 5'4". Yeah. Okay. 5'4". Yeah. Pretty human average now, I think. 5'4". Ambitions. Ambitions are a character's goal in life, what they want to achieve. All characters have both a short-term and a long-term goal. Choosing ambitions. Consult with your GM when choosing your ambitions. Your GM has final say on the acceptability of an ambition. I don't like that. And whether it's a short or long-term. Should you wish to change an ambition, you may do so between sessions. Short-term ambitions. Short-term ambitions represent your immediate goals. They are outcomes you wish to achieve within days and weeks, possibly sooner. Under normal circumstances, a short-term ambition should take at least 2 or 3 sessions to complete. Okay. So this is very Burning Wheel goals. Example short-term ambitions. Ruining the reputation of a romantic rival, avenging a fallen comrade, befriending a reclusive scholar. Long-term ambitions. Long-term ambitions are goals. Okay, I get why the GM has say now. Long-term ambitions are goals you will need to work on for months or years to complete, and may never be achieved at all, perhaps taken more as a description of a primary motivation in your life than a realistic outcome. Is this supposed to be, like, in play? Or is this just, like, general? Like, do we see a long-term ambition come to fruition? That's interesting. Examples of long-term ambitions include owning your own coaching inn, building your village into a thriving town, reading the colleges of magic of elven influence. Damn, that's definitely an ambition. Nefarious options, nefarious plans. You may want to keep your ambitions secret from other players in your party, especially if they're controversial or clandestine. If you want to overthrow the Emperor or legalize necromancy in the Reichland, chances are your witch hunter ally won't approve. I don't like that pitches it as a secret from other players. I would much prefer that to say your character may want to keep their ambitions secret from other characters. I think that secrets should be open to the table. A secret is boring if it's... and kind of like it can get hurtful as well. Like, it can just feel like people are lying at the table, and it makes more sense just to be open about your character's secrets and then have character, and like then everyone can share in on the dramatic irony when someone is lying in character but they're not actually lying as a player. Yeah, I would reword that. Achieving your ambitions. Well, I mean, I would, but yeah, that's a stylistic choice. Achieving your ambitions. If you achieve your short-term ambition, you will receive a bonus of plus 50 XP. You can choose a new short-term ambition at the end of the session. If you achieve your long-term ambition, you may either receive a bonus of plus 500 XP and choose a new long-term ambition at the end of the session, retire your character who becomes an NPC under your GM's control, and gain a bonus of half your earned XP of your current character to spend on your next character. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Retired characters will generally stay in place to take advantage of their achieved ambition. You can build them into the background of your new character so that they may continue to help you. If you want to reactivate a retired character, talk to your GM about how best to bring that into the current story. Retiring characters allows you to build a network across the old world. It can be a great source of adventure leads. Okay. Ambitions. This is a tough one because, you know, we don't have a GM, we don't have other players. So I'm going to leave this blank. I'm going to leave this blank for now until we know what the other characters are. Party. Now you have almost finished making your character. You need to consider the other players in your party. Everyone will have more fun when your characters can engage and interact with one another. While some intra-party conflict can be enjoyable, it is important you are not constantly at one another's throats, which is why I said the thing about the secrets, but whatever. You will also want to consider how your party know one another. Are you friends? Are you the retainers of a noble or travelling companions on a river barge? Or is your GM going to have you meet during your first session? Party ambitions. All players in the group should also discuss what your collective goals are and then choose a short-term and long-term party ambition. This is cool. Much like your personal ambitions, party ambitions can be changed between sessions. Short-term party ambitions. Short-term party ambitions have the same scope as your personal short-term ambitions, but are for the whole group. Your personal ambitions should never be the same as your party ambitions, but there is no reason they can't complement each other. Examples of short-term party ambitions. Outwitting a rival group, securing a job at their loss, hunting down the killer of a lost party member, impressing your patron by completely succeeding in an appointed task. Long-term party ambitions. Much like short-term party ambitions, long-term party ambitions work like your personal ambitions and can be just as wide in scope, but are for your entire group. Examples: eradicate an empire-wide chaos cult, build a castle, become heroes of the empire, each earning an imperial cross for bravery pinned on your chests by the emperor himself. Achieving your party ambitions. If your party achieves its short-term ambition, each member receives plus 50. You can also select a new ambition for the party at the end of the session. If your party achieves its long-term, all players receive the plus 500, and as many players as you wish can retire. Okay, so it's the same thing. Awesome. And then there's the bringing your character to life 10 questions. Okay, so I think we've gone through one character. It's a pretty simple process. It's a lot more work, honestly, than second edition. Yeah, it's. I mean, it was more work because I was reading through it for the first time, obviously, but it just generally is more work. There's more maths going in. The individual plus ones are more involved. This whole thing where it's like because I'm a river folk, river woman, green fish with a brass 2, right? Like that's way more than saying I'm a rat catcher, right? Second edition was a lot more streamlined in that way, but I really like the depth. I really like the idea that I can take my river folk, river woman, and I can become more of a river woman and go down this like stage up from greenfish and stuff, or later on I can change to a different career in my class. I can become a seaman, right? Or I can go even further and change class. I can become something else. I don't really know the mechanics for that yet, but I know that's possible. Yeah. I'm interested to see how this goes at a table. I would love to do a group character creation with this, and I might do a group character creation soon. I might just set up a stream to have some more folks join in. I think I'm going to cut it here for today. Try and get more of a feel of it, but I'm glad that I did this little preview read through with you folks and really like consider things out in the open. It's been very helpful getting to grips with this new edition. I'm really excited about this edition. Nothing that I read, apart from some of the wordings on like how the GM interacts and how like the player culture is, none of the things I read I disliked. In fact, a lot of the things that I read I love. I am so excited for a lot of the changes, specifically the status stuff. Even though I said it added complexity, it's complexity that I've always wanted in Warfare. It's stuff that I have always had to just arbitrate as the GM, and this will help monumentally with that. I'm keen to see how it scales, because like if you get to the furthest one is like the highest gold, is that of an equal with an elect account, or elect accounts like platinum, or how does that work? Is the emperor above platinum? You know, like 3 bands is pretty small. Like, you know, we've got lower class, middle class, and upper class, but upper class is largely meaningless because there's so much there, right? And middle class is also quite a wide band. Lower class goes from like, you know, struggling to not even being able to struggle, just not surviving, right? So like these are weird bounds, but I'm excited to dig more into them, and I will probably do some more of these previews. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've got a bit more of an idea of what this game's going to look like, and I hope you're excited for more, because I am, and I am definitely going to be streaming more of this. I kind of want to stream a game of it. I don't know when I will be able to do that, but who knows. Watch this space. We may be playing some Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition on this channel. Anyway, thank you all for coming. You've been a pleasure, and I will see you at a later date. Bye.